This is Watson. He is a ferret. The name ferret actually comes from the Latin ferretus, meaning little thief, which is due to ferrets' habits of stealing whatever they want, really, and putting it in their little treasure troves. And the full name of a ferret is rodent-eating stinky little thief, because in the wild they eat rodents, and they're related to skunks. They are related to skunks, meaning if your ferret is not descented, they can actually spray, kind of like a skunk. It's way less stinky, and most pet ferrets are descented. Not only are they super adorable, but they have been domesticated for thousands of years, like since the Roman Empire. More modern uses for ferrets include pets, obviously, as well as hunting, because they like to go in tunnels, so they're used in rabbit hunting. They have been used to run electrical in airplanes, and currently there are ferrets in Yorkshire, in England, that are trained to run wires, used for as little electricians. And there's been a ferret that has cleaned a particle accelerator. And ferrets are actually anatomically and physiologically similar to humans, meaning that they're used in biomedical research, especially with vaccines such as like the flu vaccine. This guy, Mr. Dr. Watson over here, has a similar immune system to the rest of us. Watson is 4 years old, and I got him in December 2019. I've actually owned 4 ferrets throughout my life. When I first got ferrets in April 2019, I got 2 white ferrets, Sherlock and Irene. They were brother and sister. Yes, I had a Sherlock face. Who didn't? I loved Sherlock and Irene. They were amazing, they were adorable, they were really cute. But unfortunately, just a few months later, in November, I went and I checked the ferret's cage, and Irene had passed away. Just suddenly, we don't know why. Stop crawling down my back, you are adorable. Okay. Because ferrets are social creatures, after giving Sherlock some time to mourn, I got Watson in December 2019 as kind of a Christmas gift. But for both me and Sherlock. I would have both Sherlock and Watson for a bit over a year, have them together. However, in March of 2021, my friend Aura was over and we were playing with the ferrets. They were out and about. Aura was scrolling through her phone, holding Sherlock, and she noticed that he was really calm. She commented on that, and also that he was drooling. So then I'm like, he's drooling? What do you mean? And I went over, and he was very lethargic and like drooling through her leggings. Like he was drooling a lot. There were these treats that he liked, and I tried offering him a treat, and he wouldn't take the treat. So I knew something was up. So we rushed him to the emergency vet, and we had discovered that he had developed an insulinoma, which is a type of cancer of the pancreas, which effectively makes ferrets diabetic. Because we had unfortunately caught it so late, it was unlikely that treating it would really give him back much quality of life. So unfortunately, we had to make the decision to put Sherlock down. Watson and I were both absolutely devastated from Sherlock's death, and I wanted to know what causes insulinoma, because I wanted to know if there was anything I could do to protect Watson. So it turns out there was something I could do. As I looked into it, I found that the most common cause of insulinomas in ferrets is due to improper diet. That, yeah, sometimes it just happens, but it tends to be from an imbalanced, improper diet. And I was confused, because when I had first gotten Sherlock and Irene, we went to the vet, and the vet recommended Marshall brand ferret food. So my family then got them Marshall brand ferret food, supposedly one of the best foods for ferrets. So if this was a good... Excuse you, sir. If that's a good food for them, why did it maybe cause not Watson's cancer? Bless you. You're not getting cancer. I won't let you. Why did it maybe cause Sherlock's cancer? So, of course, then I start looking into Marshall ferret food. Like, okay, this is supposed to be good, but my ferret still got cancer. And I found that Marshall ferret food sucks. Like, not only is it imbalanced, it contains known carcinogens to ferrets. These guys are prone to cancer. So why you'd put cancer in their food, I don't know. But here Marshall is putting cancer in their food. So needless to say, I researched a bit more and I found better foods and I switched Watson to them. Could you stop trying to crawl down my back? So I switched Watson's food. And then I gave Watson some time to mourn, as I also needed it. I was contemplating if I even wanted to get another ferret after Sherlock. Because, like, if whatever I feed them is going to give them cancer, I don't want to do that to another ferret. But in April? Was it April? Yeah. In April 2021. In April 2021, I had gotten another ferret and named her Spaghetti. He's falling down my back. He just fell down my back. In April 2021, I had gotten another ferret and named her Spaghetti. She was tiny, she was adorable, I loved her. All was great. They got along, they were happy. They had food that shouldn't have given them cancer. When I had gotten Spaghetti, I paid attention to the little ferret pamphlet and the little rabies certificate and the little Marshall thing, and I saw that they had a ferret Marshall guarantee. And so I read that, and it turns out Marshall has like a warranty on their ferrets. You'd think, oh, maybe that protects against the cancer, right? Like if your ferret gets cancer, they'll reimburse you or something. They'll give you like $100 or whatever. But no, the Marshall ferret guarantee literally only protects against birth defects that Marshall may have missed before sending out ferrets to pet stores. And in order to keep the warranty on your ferret, the birth defect warranty on your ferret valid, you have to feed them Marshall ferret foods. And it explicitly states that it does not cover cancer. So you're just out here having to give these guys cancer for nothing. It hurts them. It hurts you. It hurts your soul. So I was like, okay, that's weird, but won't happen again, right? Wrong. Because one day in November 2022, I came home from school one day, fed the ferrets, and I noticed that Spaghetti was dragging her hind legs a bit. But I didn't think much of it because I needed to trim their nails, so I was like, okay, maybe she got her nail caught on something. Because if I wait a little too long to trim their nails, they'd get a little caught. And I'm like, okay, her leg's probably sore. It's probably nothing. It was not nothing, because at 5 a.m. the next day, I wake up to screaming. Ferrets can scream. It's terrifying. I wake up to screaming. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I check the ferrets, and Spaghetti is having seizures. So obviously we rush her to the emergency vet again, and they can't get blood at all for whatever. So they take a look at her. Mom and I sit in the car sobbing, wondering what could have happened, because she was just a year old. She was barely not a kit. A kit is a baby ferret. A kit is any ferret under a year old. She was just barely not a kit. I was like, okay, what happened? Because she's so young. What? We still don't have any definitive answer. But looking into it, it seems like she had an insulinoma too. Just tiny little ferret. Like, she was smaller than Watson. Here's Watson. So, here's Watson. Here's a pop can for scale. Smaller than this. Tiny little ferret. She somehow had gotten an insulinoma. I mean, like, yeah, for half her life, she had been given Marshall food. But as soon as I got her, I switched her off of it. Because I'm not going to give her cancer. But I guess it was too late, because those few months must have been damaged. So, obviously, I'm looking more and more into what could have happened. More and more into Marshall. And also take Watson to the vet. Because he was due for his annual anyway. Stop falling down my back. I love you, but you need to stop falling down my back. Okay. I look more into Marshall. I take Watson to the vet. So we had just gotten a new vet. Because my dogs didn't like the old vet. And if your animal has a bad vibe about someone, your pet is right. Get away from that person. They suck. So we switched vets. And this new vet, we take Watson in. They're like, hey, he's a Marshall ferret. He's a Marshall ferret. He's 3 years old? Yeah, he was 3 years old at the time. He's a Marshall ferret. He's 3 years old. 3 years old. You know, Marshall ferrets, they're spayed, neutered, and decented too early. So they're prone to adrenal disease. They're prone to adrenal cancer. Pancreatic cancer, adrenal cancer. So, Mr. Dr. Watson has a little surgery. And right here, on the back of his shoulders, has a little pellet of hormones that help take the stress off of his endocrine system. Because he was neutered too early. So that he could be sold. They put capitalism in my ferrets. And not only that, there's more. Of course there's more. So I'm looking into Marshall. Their food causes cancer. They don't protect against cancer. If your ferret gets cancer, that's a you problem. And what's ridiculous, what I find absolutely ridiculous, is the normal lifespan of a ferret is 5 to 10 years. But the lifespan for a Marshall bred ferret, a ferret bred from Marshall Farms, the largest ferret breeder in the US, their lifespan is only like 4 to 6 years. Mr. Dr. Watson is old for a Marshall ferret. That's half of a normal ferret lifespan. So, I'm looking into Marshall ferrets. I find out that, okay, they don't live long. They're prone to cancer and adrenal disease and all of these things. Stop falling. You have to stop falling. Cute for the camera. Their lifespan is only like 4 to 6 years. Mr. Dr. Watson is old for a Marshall ferret. That's half of a normal ferret lifespan. So, I'm looking into Marshall ferrets. I find out that, okay, they don't live long. They're prone to cancer and adrenal disease and all of these things. Stop falling. You have to stop falling. Cute for the camera. So, I look into Marshall ferrets. And I find some forum posts talking about Marshall ferrets being bad. So I click on them. And the date on the forum posts, the oldest, I found like 2 forum posts, they date back from 2001. So we've known for over 20 years how bad Marshall ferrets is. And nothing's been done. And I think that sucks. So looking into the forum posts from 2001 and 2004, I find out that Marshall, they make, or as far as they're concerned, they make ferrets. And beagles. The beagles are for biomedical research. Purely for biomedical research. And I look into this and I see articles about how Marshall is a puppy and ferret mill. And for those unaware, puppy mills are completely inhumane. They just keep churning out puppies. They're overcrowded. They're disease-ridden. And they do that to the puppies, to the beagle puppies, to the ferret kids. So I find out how terrible this is. And we've known since 2001. At least. We've known since at least 2001 how bad Marshall is. And nothing's been done. Part of the reason that Marshall is as big as it is, and like they're the name in ferrets, is because of the laws surrounding ferrets. Now, laws surrounding whether ferrets are legal or what makes ferrets a legal pet, they differ place to place. But in Macomb County, in order for a ferret to legally be kept as a pet, they need to be spayed or neutered and descented. They don't need to be microchipped. They don't need, well, they need their rabies vaccine, but they need to be spayed, neutered, and descented. And Marshall, when you get your Marshall ferret, they come spayed, neutered, and descented, because they spay and neuter and descent them way too early. They also tattoo 2 little dots in their ears, which you can just about see on Watson. Marshall ferrets, they abide by the law, but not at all ethics. Their ferrets are raised in poor conditions. They're prone to disease because of extra inbreeding, like more than what would naturally occur. So they have disease-ridden, cancer-prone, inbred ferrets. They sell low-quality ferrets. I love Watson, but you are low quality, my love. If you ever want to get a ferret from a pet, please, I beg of you, look into either adopting a ferret from a shelter. There are some ferret-specific rescues and shelters. So either rescue, like adopt a ferret, or look into getting a ferret through an actual ferret breeder completely unassociated with Marshall. Do not get a Marshall ferret. You're gonna hurt yourself. Yes, they're cute. Yes, they're fuzzy. All ferrets are cute and fuzzy. But it's not worth it to get a Marshall ferret. Like, if you can, get a ferret from a reputable breeder. And Marshall ferret sucks. If you see a petition to shut down Marshall ferrets, maybe you should sign it. For Watson, like, look at it. He's so cute. He wants you to shut down Marshall ferrets. Because all of his friends have died. And he's falling down my back.